Well, hello everyone. I'm Blair Bryant with the Steller Group.
And I'm Emily.
And here we are for our June 2022 market update. Emily, it's summertime.
Yeah. Finally. It feels like it. This whole week has felt like springy, wintry.
Yeah, very, very typical Colorado
Yeah.
weather, right?
Yeah.
You're wearing t-shirts and then you're wearing sweatshirts the next day. But the housing market typically reflects that. Here in June, we get a little bit of hot, a little bit of cold, kind of mixed in there. Let's jump right into these stats that you guys have all been listening to.
Yeah.
We talk about inventory first and foremost. Emily, we're at 3,652 homes on the market.
Yeah, that's an increase.
Yeah, it's an increase, 14% month over month.
Yeah.
And year over year, it's a 76% increase.
Yeah. So this time last year, when we were still really more heavily in the pandemic, obviously 76% less homes on the market. And this is really good news. I mean,
good news,
even 3,600 homes are like 76% more inventory. But 3,600 homes, we're still talking about a balanced market is 16,000. So it's still low, but growing.
Right. So it's like these indicators. Why you watch this? Why you're trying to figure out when should I buy a house? When should I sell a house? Well, if you can kind of measure. Before COVID, June 2019, we were at 9,500 homes in the market.
And by the way, that felt like a really busy, healthy market.
Yeah, it was still a seller's market. So we're at 3,652, certainly still a seller's market, but it has come up from where we hit our lows. I think if you're talking about anything, it's like, where did we hit rock bottom?
Yeah, and that was back in like January, February when we were seeing under 2,000, somewhere, I don't know, I have to go back and look, 1,200 or something crazy like that.
It was just so unreasonable and unsustainable. That other stat we look at always is that average close price. So where are prices? Well, the good news, I think, is we've stabilized. We're basically at $805,000 for your average detached metro area home, and that represents basically a little bit of a pullback from last month.
Just a little over a 1% pullback. It's really negligible, but the point is it's not gone up. Year over year, it has gone up. From the previous year, it was up 15%, but month over month, it just shows that we're stabilizing. Interest rates have a lot to do with that, right?
Well, let's talk about interest rates. So what are you hearing on interest rates?
So, interest rates now that we're on either side of about 5%.
Right.
And it's definitely taken some people onto the sidelines, waiting to see what happens with the interest rates. Mortgage applications are at a really historic low right now, and I think that's the refis, right? A lot of people aren't going out there and refining because things, have been so low, and that's reflected in the loan applications. But I think our interest rates are a little bit stable for the next few months. They're certainly still projected to inch up, and maybe by September go up again. But that means if you are a home buyer, summer is going to be a great time to get into the market, because our interest rates are going to be about where they are now until we hit September.
Yeah, it's funny. I think the media, and we're going to talk about the media here in a second, it has these headlines that just kind of freak you out. Interest rates are up. It costs double what it cost to buy a home last year, something like that. But, the reality is, as a culture and as a society, I think we actually adjust pretty quickly. People adjusted to not being able to go outdoors. Within a month, we were figuring out how to order everything on Amazon and everything, within our house. So I think with interest rates, they've gone up. But we still have very little inventory.
Exactly. We're just adjusting to the new normal. Right? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, so, the headlines. Let's talk about the headlines. There's a big one in the Denver Post this past week here in Denver. The headline was Day of Reckoning for the Housing Market. And I had clients call me, Emily, and just say, it says we should wait 3 weeks before we buy a house. And I said, interesting. So I looked up the article. And as you get into the article, even the first sentence, it says, well, Denver ranks 37th out of 100 of housing markets for their overheatedness, right? So where do we fall compared? Well, 37th out of 100 doesn't sound like we're in the top 10, top 5, and we're coming out of a COVID economy. My feeling here on the ground is we're coming back into a more normalized economy where things are finding what should be an equilibrium. Housing was such a huge thing during COVID because, you couldn't go on vacations, you couldn't go to family reunions, you couldn't. Well, a lot of people are doing those things now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also I think that, a lot of people obviously didn't go to the market during COVID for lots of reasons.
Sure.
They just were hunkering down in the home they had, and now people are venturing out again. A lot more people are remote workers, like we've talked about for the last 2 years, and they're kind of figuring out I can live wherever I want and I can still work. I mean, the housing market is still so strong, inventory's low. What has changed is a seller's maybe not going to get, we talked about this last month, we've talked about it on some of our weekly updates, a seller's maybe not going to get 50 offers, 100,000 over asking price. They might have 6 solid showings, 3 of which are super interested buyers that are making offers. And that's the difference. And I think sellers are panicking a little bit like, what's going on? Why aren't I getting 50
And again,
showings?
sellers are adjusting too, so next month you want to tune in because we're going to do our mid-year market report. We're going to get the crystal ball out and we're going to look a little bit ahead and we're going to look back on what our COVID economy's been like. And I think what we're heading into, which is a post-COVID era.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. I'm Blair.
And I'm Emily.